Good evening. This is Kilo Alpha 6 Echo Tango Echo. I'll be net control for this evening's Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Tech Net. Looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
K1DEG mobile. Yeah, I think it's about it.
Yeah, how is Mike doing this evening?
Checking in. ET, I'm doing all right. And somebody got stepped on there at the end. All I heard was check in, but I'm sure you heard the same thing. Just headed to the house. Just dropped off KF4DUS. And, yep, that's about it. Headed to the house. Oh, yeah, 12-point buck was standing out in the middle of the road. I think he was challenging me, but anyway, I passed him.
Glad to hear you're doing good. Yeah, 12-point buck, it seems like it shouldn't be any match for a vehicle, but they usually tend to do quite a bit of damage, so probably a good thing to avoid. Station that I doubled with, can you please try again?
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Alpha Zulu Mike, checking in.
Okay, I got you that time. How you doing this evening?
Doing well, playing with these new Nagoya antennas I got. Using my VX7R, I was able to just get a 47-mile simplex on 2 meter down to Broomfield from Christ Mountain. Pretty impressed with them so far. Unfortunately, now that I've got a better antenna, I have figured out that my VX7R is having problems in UHF, so I'm going to have to send it in for some repair.
That's never a good thing, but one thing I will say about Yaesu, their repair and customer service is pretty good.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Bravo India Alpha checking in, please.
KF4 DUS, Kilo Foxtrot 4 Delta Uniform Sierra, Horsetooth Mike.
Whiskey 2, Mike, India, Charlie, Mark, in Loveland.
Hey, I got 3 of you that time. KF0, it was Bravo India Alpha, and KF4DUS, and W2MIC. Hope you guys are doing good tonight. Anyone else want to check in for tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
Good evening, November 0 Echo Mike Papa, Greg in Fort Collins with Debbie K0DBE.
Hey, got you in there, Greg and Debbie. How are you guys doing this evening?
We're doing well, enjoying the cooler weather and the moisture.
Yeah, definitely 2 things that we were in desperate need of. I've been looking at the weather forecast, and it looks like it's going to be fairly cool and good weather for the next week at least. I think the highest I've seen that I think for Saturday was like 84. Other than that, it's supposed to be low 80s, high 70s from what I've been seeing.
Yeah, it looks like some of this moisture is going over the fire areas too.
Yeah, I know. I was watching the radar yesterday, and it looked like they should have had a significant amount of rain in that area, according to the radar. I mean, it lasted up there from what the radar looked like for a good 2-3 hours, so hopefully that helped them out quite a bit. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, this is Kilo Alpha 6, Echo Tango Echo, net control for this evening's Tech Net, looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
Whiskey 0 Alpha Sierra Papa, W0 ASP, Terry in Berthoud.
How's Terry doing this evening?
Oh, today was a fantastic day. Love the change in weather. It's actually cool enough I can turn on some of the test equipment in my shack.
Yeah, that definitely makes it a lot better. That's one downside to a lot of the test equipment and even some of the radios and amplifiers is they generate a significant amount of heat.
And if they get too hot, they self-destruct.
Yeah, that's never a good thing to have happen. But thank you for checking in. Anyone else want to check in for tonight's Tech Net? Call now.
K0UXQ, Steve in Fort Collins.
Okay, let me make sure I got the call sign correct. Kilo Delta 0 Uniform X-Ray Quebec.
Kilo Echo 0 Uniform X-Ray Quebec.
Okay, little, not really dyslexia, I had it right, just had the wrong letter, but okay, thank you for that. How are you doing tonight, Steve?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good to hear. Do one more round. Yeah, this is Kilo Alpha 6, Echo Tango Echo, net control for this evening's Tech Net, looking for check-ins. Anyone wanting to check into tonight's Tech Net, please call now.
Alpha Echo 0, Charlie Foxtrot, Ben, Fort Collins.
Hey, hear nothing. We'll move on. I did have a email from someone about a good topic for this evening. Unfortunately, it's something I don't know anything about. Someone suggested the APRS Droid application and program. They said it's something I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with APRS, but using all Mac and iPhones and that, I've never attempted the APRS Droid application. Anyone have anything they would like to start with about APRS Droid or any questions about it that we could possibly answer?
MIC, I'm the one who sent you the email.
Yeah, I know it was you. I wasn't going to mention if you wanted, you could start with it and you can build from there.
Sure thing. For those of you, first of all, this is W2MIC. For those of you who are Android users, phone or tablet, you probably know about the APRS Droid application. It runs APRS on your phone, Android phone or tablet. And even if you don't have an APRS compatible radio, you can beacon your location using the APRS Droid app and the GPS built into your phone or tablet and your data connection, be it cellular or Wi-Fi.
So that means if you're running around and you're within range of the cell phone network, you can both look at everybody else out there and you can beacon your position. If you have a TNC, you can use APRS Droid with a little bit of setting reconfiguration to beacon through your radio and show you the incoming information. And I'm getting rained on, so I'm going to drop and come back here. As a sidebar, boy, am I happy to see some rain. I hope the kids up in the fire zone are getting it. The APRS Droid app went down about 8 months ago when Google changed the application programming interface for Google Maps. The rewrite has been going on, and just late last week, the APRS Droid app came up new and now works with the current Google Maps API and is up and running it. I have tested it extensively. It is fully functional once again. Back to net.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta hate it whenever a big company like Google changes something and doesn't inform the littler guys that use their APIs and that for different applications. But anyone have any questions or comments about the APRS Droid application?
A1DEG, comment not pertaining to APRS.
Ken, and a big thank you for that discussion.
Okay, sound like we did have a double there, K1DEG-U1, so we will start with your comment.
Well, if you've got a D74, there's some cool tricks that you can do with the D74 and the Android device, and the D74 does have the TNC. That was one thing that I can mention that I do know about. I've done it with my D74 and my tablet. But the other comment was for you, ETE. Did you happen to hear Ben? I heard him check in and I didn't hear you reply to him. K1DEG.
Oh yeah, I did get him checked in. I thought I had replied to him. If I forgot to, sorry about that, Ben. The station that doubled with Mike a little bit ago, can you please try again?
This is November 6th, Sierra Victor Bravo, late check-in. I think I doubled. Coincidentally, my D74 arrives tomorrow, and those are some of the features I was looking at. I also just wanted to say a big thanks for the discussion on what you can do with the Google Maps and so forth. I'm just catching up on this space. I've been out of the full engagement on the hobby for a few years with the kids.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to hear you're back into the getting back into the hobby and reacquainted with stuff. You'll like the D74 radio. It's a very versatile and robust radio that does a lot of stuff and has a lot of features. Anyone else have any questions or comments they would like to share? Please call now.
W0ASP question.
ASP Terry, go ahead.
Does the Droid APRS app work with the D72?
MIC?
MIC, go ahead.
I'm going to kind of plead ignorance, but I'll try. I have a D74, and KF4DUS had a 72. He might be a better person to answer. Basically, you communicate between the phone and the D74 on Bluetooth, and K1DEG can also comment, and use the TNC function built into the 74. I think that the 72 had a TNC built in, but I don't remember if it had Bluetooth.
The T72 definitely has a TNC, but it does not have Bluetooth.
The cable hookup.
We had a double there. I caught both people, or I could figure out who both people were. W2MIC, Mark, can you please repeat your comment?
W2MIC, sorry about the double. Okay, if you do not have Bluetooth, there would have to be some kind of cable hookup to move data and back and forth. In other words, to get from the phone or tablet over to the TNC.
The radio does have a USB connector. W0ASP back to net.
Yeah, you know, one thing I have read about the APRS droid and that is they can, a way a lot of people configure using even like the Bofangs and that is just use the audio and that on the cell phone, on your Android phone, because it is a 3-pin for the mic and headset. You can use that from the radio if you to configure it, but the doubling station was N0WIQ. Carrie, go ahead.
Well, good even one and all, and I'm sorry I doubled with somebody, but I had let the repeater drop and tried to get in there before anybody else did. Like I'm sure the other doubling person did too. Anyway, I don't have anything to offer to the conversation, so back to net.
Okay, good to hear you in there, Carrie. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Please call now.
MIC.
W2MIC, Mark, go ahead.
As a side note on APRS droid, there are two versions. There is the version which runs live with data, cellular or Wi-Fi, and there is the other version that runs with an offline map. So even if you are not in range of cellular data, you can use the offline map and a TNC of some sort to listen to APRS transmissions. And you can see a moving map of the APRS.FI flavor on your phone, even though you cannot beacon out with your phone. If you are hooked up to a radio, you're all set, and you do not have to be in range of cellular data in order to have the map displayed.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice feature to be able to use it offline. I know I have used the APRS ISCE32 for Windows tablets and that, and I've used it connected to an FTM 400 and different things that available offline. The downside with using that and a lot of the Yaesu radios, or at least with the FTM 400 and the FTM 100, they have a one-way TNC. It's a receive only. You can't transmit. You can't type anything in through any apps or anything and send it through the radio. It will only read the packets received. Other than that, you have to send it direct from the radio. Anyone else have any comments? I hear nothing. I have one question. With the APRS droid, are you able to, can you type messages and stuff like that to where you could send a APRS message or anything over the radio?
Yes.
I figured you were. I just figured I would double check to make sure from someone that's familiar with the application. I know with APRS there's a lot of features that you can use and a lot of different tools you can use it for. I know one thing that I like doing, especially when I'm out in the mountains, I don't know how many people are aware of it, but you're actually able to get weather reports through your APRS. You send a message to WXBot, that's Whiskey X-Ray Bravo Oscar Tango, and then in the message area, that's the call sign that you send it to. Instead of entering a call sign, you enter the WXBot, and then in the message you can send today, and it'll use your GPS coordinates to pull a weather report from your closest to your location. You could also use it and type in a call sign for someone else that is using APRS anywhere you want, that you know they're beaconing APRS, and it will send send you the weather report for the area they are in, whether it's if you're doing it for a family member, a friend that is asking you to get weather for them, or just check in on the weather for them. There's a lot of different features you can use for APRS for polling weather and stuff like that. I don't know how many people are familiar with using that. This is Kilo Alpha 6, Echo Tango Echo, net control for this evening's NCARC Tech Net. If anyone has any additional questions or comments in regards to APRS Droid or APRS in general, please call now.
KF0AZM, comment.
AZM, go ahead.
I'm currently doing some research on APRS, using SDRs that are really cheap. You know, these are the little, like $13 SDRs, and Raspberry Pis. Turns out that you can hook these up to a Baofeng or to another, 5-watt type device, and it turns, iGate turns these little Raspberry Pis into a very powerful APRS gateway. Pretty neat projects online. Hackaday had one that I was following.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with the Raspberry Pi. There's one guy on YouTube that's all he does videos on with amateur radio and Raspberry Pis, or using them together. It's KM4ACK. He has a lot of good videos and a lot of good applications that he writes the programming for, and you can download them for free and everything else from the GitHub website. If you're looking into stuff like that, it's definitely something I would check out.
N0WIQ, I'm somewhat of a Raspberry Pi guru.
Yeah, I know Kerry, you have a lot of Raspberry Pis and do a lot of things with hotspots and everything else. Do you have any comments?
Well, you put a monitor, a keyboard, and mouse, you have a works area there too, but you can go in there and find the Genie, which I say you can set it up to do C or C++ with it and write programs for the Raspberry Pi. But on the other hand, well, I have a domain name server on my network made out of a Raspberry Pi. I also have a page server made out of a Raspberry Pi. And I just recently put together a network attached storage with the Raspberry Pi. The only thing I haven't done the commercial network attached storage does is it is also a file server, and I haven't made mine into that yet.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things to do with them and a lot of applications they can be used for. On that, well, with the Raspberry Pi, I have a question that maybe Greg or Terry might know something about. I've seen something new that has came out to go along with the nano VNAs. It's now a mini spectrum analyzer. That's the same concept as the nano VNA. It's a little micro single board computer that's a full spectrum analyzer that is supposed to work from 500 kilohertz up to 900 megahertz. Anyone heard anything about them or use them at all before I buy one?
W0ASP. I have not heard of this device.
Yeah, I know it's something fairly new. I know the first video on good old YouTube University that I've been able to find for it was only published 3 weeks ago. And from what I've seen, they seem like they would work about as good as the nano VNAs. I know they were testing the one video, they were testing different things for signal output with HTs and that, and they seem like they're pretty accurate. I want to say they're like $75 and a lot cheaper than buying an actual spectrum analyzer, and something that I might end up buying just to play with and see how good they are.
What are the advertised features of this that the nano VNA does not have?
Them to something resembling the specs they publish before you know whether they're any good or not. And that might be a challenge, figuring out how to test them. So anyway, this is N0WIQ.
A1DEG.
Hang on a second there, Mike. Terry, answer your question. What they do that the nano VNA doesn't is you can connect it to an antenna and actually set a frequency range. You can set it for the entire range of 500 kilohertz all the way up to 900 megahertz. It'll show you what signals are being generated, signal strength that it is receiving, and everything, and then you can narrow it down for testing the frequency that's being transmitted. Pretty much seemed like it would be a good tool for use for direction finding and that, because you can narrow it down and tell exactly how strong the signal is that you're receiving.
Okay, I think I misheard you. You said you were using this as a spectrum analyzer. I thought I misheard an antenna analyzer.
No, it's signal analyzer. It's a mini SA, I believe is what they're calling them. Yeah, it's just will read any radio frequency that it receives from 500 kilohertz up to 900 megahertz. It's based off of the Nano VNA platform. It's just the opposite end to where instead of testing the antenna, it's telling you if something else is transmitting an RF signal.
I have heard some discussion about trying to make the nano VNAs into spectrum analyzers. I think what they really need is just a good amplifier in front of them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of things, like I said, I think their advertised price that I've seen is right around $75, so it's still a fairly inexpensive piece of equipment compared to other things. But K1DEG, you were in there a little bit ago. Go ahead.
ETE, do me a favor, share a link to my Facebook, please, or you can send me an email. It doesn't matter. I want to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. I will share the link. I'll pull it back up here in a little bit on the computer and get the link for it and share it on, send it to you, and probably also just share it on Facebook on the NCARC Facebook group. But it sounded like there was a station that doubled in there. If you doubled, try again.
N0WIQ, a comment about a spectrum analyzer?
Yeah, Terry, go ahead.
Well, if you pair the spectrum analyzer with some source, unless it has a source in it, you can use it as a network analyzer, and especially if you put in a directional coupler with that too. Because that's just all it is. It's a network analyzer is just a source, a low power source, some sort of a spectrum analyzer to look on the output, and a directional coupler will tell you whether it's a forward or a reverse wave. So that's the simple description of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of things out there. I like the fact that they're actually coming out with, well, outside businesses are coming out with small pieces of equipment that are inexpensive, that are obtainable by the majority of ham radio operators that they could use for different things, and instead of having to spend the hundreds and thousands of dollars for some of the more expensive stuff, it's something that if you only use it occasionally here and there, it's beneficial for as far as a cost perspective of it. Anyone have any questions or comments they would like to share with the net, please call now.
Either here.
Ben, go ahead.
I was just playing with my Nano VNA, and I guess just seeing what it would do if I put an antenna on channel 1, actually it would be channel 2 port, and just did a log mag report without a connection from channel 0, and tried scanning the FM broadcast band just for the heck of it. And it was kind of strange. I did see very, very small blips that where would we expect what they call FM transmitters to be around. However, the amount of signal, it's unacceptably low. It's into noise. Wondering if you heard of, or anybody has heard of, actually putting a small LNA or I don't know if it has to be broadband or narrowband or whatnot, to actually get a fairly good representation of the signals that are in the vicinity. E0CF.
W0ASP comment?
ASP, Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, an additional amplifier is an issue, but another issue is the bandwidth of the the digital receiver. As the H4s, the nano VNAs are programmed, it has an extremely narrow bandwidth because it knows what it's trying to listen to is its own signal generator. To listen to external signals, you would have to have an adjustable bandwidth.
So you mean a adjustable bandwidth LNA coming in onto port 2?
Negative. This would be an adjustable bandwidth in the digital signal processing and or the software-defined receiver. It would have to have a wider bandwidth than is in the traditional vector network analyzer function.
All right, I see. Yeah, I was kind of, expecting that you could do something like this just because, the scanning feature and the mixing are there. Anyway, well, that's just a little bit of interest. I don't know if, so it sounds like that you need a firmware change and the external amplifier. All right, well, EZSUF back to net.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the question and thank you for the commentary. It's definitely good whenever people experiment and try different things. That's how we learn and expand our knowledge. If anyone else have any questions or comments they would like to ask the net, please call now.
N0WIQ, another comment.
Okay, sound like we had a double there. I got one of you in there, N0WIQ. Gary, go ahead.
Well, I've used the HEC RF1 in the software design radio that it is. And at least with the software that you can use with it, you can design your own software radio, but the HEC RF1 doesn't have any limiter on the input. And so some of these software design devices you're talking about, one of the things you might want to pay attention to is how well they protect the input. Because I put a big antenna on my HEC RF1 and blew the input back to net.
Yeah, definitely. I know a lot of them are, some of the cheaper ones you don't want to, from what I've read, you don't want to exceed anything above a negative 40 dB or any louder than a negative 40 dB. So I'm sure if you put a big antenna on there and have a strong signal coming in, it's not going to like it very much. It sounded like there was a station that doubled with Carrie a little bit ago. Please try again.
KF0BIA.
KF0BIA, go ahead.
This is Dan out of North Glen, and I had a question about an antenna. Was wondering if there were any recommendations for an antenna that I could use to run a mobile unit out of my home.
Are you for UHF, VHF, I'm assuming? Oh, dual band?
That would be correct, but I would like to be able to try doing some SSB on the HF frequencies as well.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any mobile antenna or any antennas you can use for, you would have to run two separate antennas, one for UHF, VHF, and one for HF. A good antenna that's popular with a lot of people, it's inexpensive. There's like the Diamond X50 antenna. They're under $100 for UHF, VHF. As far as for HF stuff, you might want to look into something like a random wire or something like that. Are you limited to an HOA type scenario to where you got to hide the antennas, or are you open to use pretty much anything?
No HOA, but I may have to deal with some zoning regulations down here.
Definitely. I always check what local ordinances are. And usually if you don't have an HOA, if you're still pretty open as long as it's not obnoxious and you don't put a 100-foot tower up. But I know a lot of people use something small, like I said, you're like the Diamond X50 or X30 antenna. They're fairly small and inexpensive. You can also get into like a J-pole type antenna. You can get a dual band J-pole that's even smaller, roughly around the same cost, and you can usually hide them a little bit, and they don't need to be very high off the ground. You can mount them right at your roof line or even below it. Even I've seen people mount them right off the railing of a deck and stuff like that, and they still work very well. Anyone else have any comments or suggestions? I hear nothing. And as far as like for HF antenna to do single sideband with HF and that, definitely look at like a random length wire or any type of wire antenna. They're inexpensive and easy to install. You can get into something like the G5RV type antenna that's a multi-band HF antenna. I think they'll even cover down into the 6-meter band up through 80 meter, I believe, for like the G5RV. Some of them you can get up to the 160 meter frequency, but you'll definitely need to run two separate antennas.
N0 WIQ.
WIQ, Carrie, go ahead.
Well, a few years ago, like maybe a decade and a half, the 73 magazine, the amateur radio magazine 73, had a whole set of issues that talked about building stealth antennas. Or also the ARRL antenna book. If you go into that, looking for stealth antennas, there's a piece or two about that. So just thought I'd throw that out, but because HF antennas are a lot cheaper if you can build them. Although the knowledge needed to build them so that they work real good is a little bit hard to come by. So that's my thought. my comment.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that comment, Kerry. Yeah, I mean, if you want to look into building your own antenna, you can definitely do it. There's a lot of diagrams and a lot of material out there to build them, and you can build them really inexpensive. I know I built a center-fed dipole for 20 meter and 40 meter, well, two separate antennas, but one feed point, that I have a total of like $25 invested in it. So you can build them inexpensive, or you can go buy one that's pre-made and you just gotta string it up and you're good to go. That give you any type of insight on what you'll need.
Yes, it did. I'm waiting for the antenna book and the handbook to come in from ARRL right now.
Yeah, you're definitely heading in the right direction. They're both great books and great reference books that you will use forever. There's people that still use ones that are 20 years old for reference. They're all good to have and a good resource to have for any ham. Anyone else have any questions or comments they'd like to share? Please call now. Hearing nothing, I would like to thank everyone for checking in this evening and thank those contributing to the topics of discussion. As always, remind everyone that Wednesday evening is the NCARC Club Net at 6:30 p.m. with early check-in starting at 6. I look forward to hearing from everyone again next week and hope everyone has a good and safe week ahead. Like say 7-3. Have a good evening, and the repeater is now open for general use.